What's up, everybody? Good evening. We are back with some more Higurashi no Nakakura ni, or otherwise known as When They Cry. Um, so yeah, I hope y'all are having a good day. I think the last thing I remember going on was we found out that Tomitaka-san and what's that bitch's name? They both died on the night of the Watanagashi. Um, it's not publicly known. Yet there's some of our friends that know, and we were asked by one of the police officers from Oki Okinomiya, I think is the place, Okinomiya Station. I think that's like a little town outside of Hinamizawa. But yeah, we were asked if we knew anything because or like, we were told basically to spy on our friends of like watch out and shit. So yeah, I hope everyone's enjoying so far, and let's see what's going on. So let's get back into it. I wonder why. Why have I been getting this dumb feeling lately? I didn't know anything. I had nothing to worry about. I was just enjoying my everyday life. My long, outstretched shadows gave no answer to my naive inquiry. Keiichi-kun, are you tired, maybe? Maybe? Rena timidly questioned the reason behind my mood. I'm sure my expressions made the situation even more unsettling. You think so? Yeah. You you seem to have been a little bit out of it ever since this morning. Maybe a cold? Physically, I was pretty sure I was in perfect health. It may not seem like it, but I've had perfect attendance since elementary school. Lorena continued on since I didn't give her an answer. It could have been that the fatigue from moving has finally caught up to you. It's completely different from where you used to live, after all. Of course, you've gotten tired, since there's so much you need to get used to and remember. Maybe that's it. I remember back when I had moved to Arizona for a little bit. I like I got kind of sick in a way where like it was a lot higher elevated than where I used to live, and yeah, and then like the atmosphere and all that stuff. Like uh, I just had to get acclimated to like the weather and air, and I was like kind of sick. Like it was just like a severe allergic reaction to some shit that I was having. I wasn't like actually sick. It was just weird. But yeah. So, and it did happen about, I'd say, a month or two into after have moving. But granted, it was also around when I finally got the job. Before then, I basically just stayed in all the time watching anime. So I'm not sure if it would have happened earlier or not, but I'd say the time period's a little bit right. No crazy logic there. Yeah, it has to be. Then it was also like that at first too. I can tell, you know, you know. I wondered if Rena also experienced the slight bit of alienation last year that I was feeling right now. Thinking so, I felt that she was the only one who could understand how I felt. I'd like to hear about when you first came to Hinamizawa. How was it? Feeling I had been drawn into the conversation, her face suddenly brightened. It was the same as Keiichi-kun. I didn't know the villagers' names at all. Mi-chan and the rest were all very kind, so I wasn't lonely, but I still did feel a little out of place. Then it told me all the details of when she had moved here. All of her first acquaintances and surprises, worries and good times. So, Satoko got you too? Yeah. There was a thumbtack on my chair. Poke. Then, with that, yeah. That really takes me back. When were you invited to the club? The first day? Nah, it wasn't a club at the beginning. It was formed partway through. One day, she said she would stay, that we should stay after and hold a big game tournament. Come to think of it, Mion did say she was the first club president. Now I get it. This is a secret, but Michan used to be really bad at the beginning. She'd never win. Huh? Mion, really? I can't even imagine that. She had to do most of the penalties that she came up with. Seriously, don't tell. I can't believe Mion was like that. So she gradually transformed into a monster who used any means necessary to win during that time. Mion is at her best when she's fighting dirty. I began making more friends besides Michan after that, but yeah. It might have only been since you moved here that I had finally felt like I had gotten used to it here. I guess Elena had also been left in the dark about Oyashiro-sama when she had just moved here. I guess when they finally told me about Oyashiro-sama, I'd be considered one of them. I wonder when I'll finally be considered one of them. Huh? Did you say something? No, sorry. Just talking to myself. Keiichi-kun, you're silly. Then it was poking fun and laughing at me. I couldn't help but laugh as well. But I suddenly stopped. Then, after making up my mind, I spoke. Hey, Rena. Is there something that everybody is keeping from me? Huh? No, not at all. You're lying, aren't you? Rena suddenly stopped. Her expression was cold and intense. What do you mean by that, Keiichi-kun? Her tone was still the same cheery and light-hearted one as before. You are, aren't you? Like, keeping something from me? After understanding what I meant, her expression grew even more intense. Seeing that face, I regretted saying something so rash. But she came at me in a way I didn't expect. Oh. Well then, Keiichi-kun, aren't you keeping something from us? Huh? Her tone didn't change, but it was the first time I'd seen this expression from Rena. I love her eyes. With how her gaze pierced through me, I couldn't believe this was the same Rena. Aren't you? Lies or secrets? Aren't you? You are. Secrets. She didn't actually say that part, but she looked as if she did. The incident with Tomitake-san and how I felt alienated from the group. Even without having to think about it, there were things I knew that I felt guilty about. But I didn't tell everybody about what happened with Tomitake-san. To be considerate. I was keeping it a secret just the same way they didn't tell me about Oyashiro-sama. Then, aren't we even? No, I'm not. No lies, nor secrets. Liar. Her answer was instant and it shook me. Rena stared as if burrowing through me, watching me like a hawk. Why would you say I'm lying? Didn't you say that you were called into the teacher's room yesterday during the club meeting, Keiichi-kun? I know. You didn't go to the teacher's room. I swallowed hard. It clearly wasn't a bluff. She knew what happened. The teacher said you had a guest, didn't she? But you didn't talk at the entrance. You talked inside of the car near the school gate. With some man we don't know. Rena knew everything. She knew that I was called out by Oishi-san, and I heard about the incident with Tomitake-san as well. Did she know all of it? Exactly who was that man? I don't know. Why did someone you don't know have business with you? I I want to know that myself. Then what did you talk about? It has nothing to do with you guys. It was a lie. Oh. Lies! Then a scream echoed through the trees, sending frightened birds into the air. Ooh. Ooh, I love this. Okay, okay. I couldn't exhale the deep breath I had just taken. No. It was like I wasn't allowed to exhale. It was here. I first realized. The person in front of me, she wasn't Rena Dugu. Then, who was it that was standing before me now? Who had assumed Rena Dugu's appearance? I had held my breath for so long I could feel myself suffocating. Right? And then she made a facial expression that Rena normally might have made. It didn't matter that it was Rena's usual smile. It chilled me to the bone. She drew closer to me. I felt her breath against my face. It wasn't the least bit exciting. Whoever this was with Rena's face was going to chew my nose right off. I cowered as I imagined that. Then, she smirked, as if she was able to see right through me. We also have secrets, just like how Keiichi-kun has secrets. It was Rena's usual smile, but her eyes were still like that of a hawk's. Bringing her face close enough to mine to almost bump into my nose, she kindly persuaded me. I couldn't nod or shake my head. This person standing in front of me, this person who looked like Rena, frightened me to my core. I was terrified knowing that she could hear the sound of my swallowing nervously. After what felt like an eternity, after a long, empty silence, she finally spoke. Let's go. It's getting chilly. It was Rena again, smiling at me once more. She started walking as if nothing had happened at all. When I was released from her gaze, my legs gave out from underneath me. I slumped to the ground. I wasn't able to lift a finger until Rena was out of sight. Who was that? I felt cold. My body was drenched in sweat. I was finally able to form a coherent thought and ask myself once again, who was that person who looked like Rena Rugu? Oh, I'm so excited. Oh. I was out of it and couldn't bring myself to do anything until dinner, except stare blankly into space. I was terrified from Rena's going off. Or was I terrified from Rena going off on me? No, that's not right. That was someone else who only looked like Rena. Then, who could it have been? It was a dreadful feeling. Knowing that that's someone else, not Rena. So tomorrow I shouldn't have a problem talking to Rena like I usually do. That thought was strangely comforting. I concluded that I should just calm down and clear my head. Though, those thoughts continued swirling around my mind. Finally I returned to my senses as I heard my mother calling out to me from the bottom of the steps. Keiichi! It's a call from the bookstore. Bookstore? Can't think of why they'd be calling me. I went downstairs and picked up the receiver anyway. My apologies for calling so late at night. It's me, Oishi of the Okinomiya bookshop. It was Okinomiya. I remembered. Applause to myself. Woohoo! Oishi-san? Oh, it's Oishi-san. Sorry. Since your parents picked up, I said I was from the bookstore. It puts people off when I say I'm a police officer. Oishi-san was, in his own way, rather courteous. Even so, I didn't want my parents hearing me talk to the police. I brought the cordless phone with me as I dashed up back to my room on the second floor. Sorry for calling so late. That phone number on the piece of paper I gave you yesterday was the old number. My apologies. Can you copy down the number I'm about to give you? Yeah. Okay. He gave me the number for his direct line as I wrote it down. I thought that was the end of it, but he began making pointless small talk, and it was pretty hard to hang up. So, how's it been, Mayabata-san? Did anything strange happen recently? I see. This was the real reason. He really beat around the bush there. His adult conversational skills left me slack-jawed. Are you from around here, Oishi-san? Yeah, I am. Born and raised in Okinomiya. If he's from around here, he might know. Oishi-san. Do you know what this Onikakushi thing is about? I believe that's when somebody suddenly vanishes because they've been abducted by a demon. It's a special saying from around here. It has the same meaning as Spirited Away like everyone else says. Whereas my friends would say they didn't know when I asked, this older man gave me a direct answer. It made me a bit happy that he'd answered me directly without trying to hide anything. Hinamizawa was, not sure if I should tell you this, Mayabara-san. Don't try to play this off. If you're not going to talk, then I'm not going to tell you anything. No. That's not what I meant. It's just, it may make you feel bad. You see, long ago, Hinamizawa was feared as a village where demons reside. Demons? By demons, you mean those pitchfork-carrying things in hell? More like human-eating monsters. They'd go down to the village, snatching people up and gobbling them down. That kind of tale. Demon snatching up people is what this Onikakushi really means. It said that the curse and being demoned away happened together. What does that mean? I already knew about the mysterious deaths happening 5 years in a row, but I didn't know there were people disappearing for those same 5 years. The curse and being demoned away happened together? First time I've heard of that. Is that how it is, Mayabata-san? That's what I want to know. I heard Rena and Mion talking. They said that if it was really Oyashiro-san was cursed, then both the curse and demoning away would happen. Oyashiro-san began hemming and hawing on the other end of the receiver. Maybe something about that came to mind? Mayabata-san, do you know what the first incident? The murder by dismemberment? Yeah. One of the 6 perpetrators is still on the run, right? Hypothetically. What if he isn't on the run, but was demoned away? Huh? It was an outrageous hypothesis from Oishi-san. The incident 4 years ago was the particularly ghastly one. The police already knew the perpetrators, so they posted tons of wanted posters with his face on them. They staked out various locations and investigated every possible escape route he had. But after 4 years, there wasn't even a hint of him where he might be, unless the police were completely incompetent. Even if it was an outrageous hypothesis, I couldn't simply laugh it off. Then, what about the incident next year, when the man who supported the project and his wife both died in an accident? Well, actually, it was only the husband who died in an accident. His wife's body never surfaced. Unless we find the body, then it's considered a missing person by law. At the time of the incident, with the river below the cliff being muddy rapids, the police divers had searched every branch off the main stream of the river for dozens of miles, but in the end they weren't able to find a body. But that's just them not being able to find the body. She's still dead, right? Isn't it different from her being demoned away? We can't say someone is dead without their body. Until a certain number of years pass, by law, she's treated as still alive. I'm not sure if it was right to call that being demoned away. The wife is missing. At least that part was reality. How about the third year? The Shinto priest died of illness, and his wife committed suicide? My Barasan. That's actually the exact same scenario. The wife had supposedly thrown herself into the bottomless marsh deep in the forest around Hinamizawa, meaning it's all circumstantial evidence. They simply found her suicide note in front of the marsh. A diver was able to recover a few remnants, but they weren't able to find a body. The investigative headquarters believed that she had faked her death and was still alive somewhere. I'm not sure if we could call these cases as being deemed away. It's just as you've said, every year one person does go missing. The incident this year, the one with Tomitake-san has gone missing. And what about the incident with the housewife beaten to death? Who went missing? I believe the perpetrator was caught, right? Yeah, we arrested him. He was just a miscreant with a record of narcotics abuse. He admitted to the crime while being questioned about a different incident. But, well, you see, after he was arrested, the child from the victim's home went missing. It's still under investigation as to whether the disappearance had anything to do with the crime. But you said you caught him, right? Did he have an accomplice? No idea. It's considered a separate case. Moreover, we can't even check now, because while under investigation, that man, he died in his holding cell. He swallowed a spork and choked to death. It's not known whether it was an accident or suicide. Meaning, for the last 5 years, there's always one person who dies and one who goes missing? That's about right. No, actually, I'm surprised as well. I never realized they had that in common. I couldn't believe that this could help lead to the closing of... I couldn't believe that this could help lead to the closing of those incidents. It was just something they had in common. Could it be that those demoned away have something in common? Oishi-san mumbled as he seemed to be thinking about it. So I summarized the events. The first year was the dam employee. Second year was the wife of a dam project supporter. Third year was the wife of the Shinto priest. Fourth year was the victim's family's child. And fifth year was the victim's girlfriend, I guess. It doesn't seem like there was anything that connects them. With the exception of the first year, wives and girlfriends, those do stand out. It does seem like there are a lot. That means the fourth year's victim's child was different. It would have really stood out if they were all married couples, except it's not just married couples, but parents and children as well. Come to think of it, I believe Tomitake-san also told me the younger brother is still alive, or is alive and has moved, if I recall correctly. The child that went missing in the fourth year, who were they? Apparently he was quite mature, 1 year older than you. His name was Satoshi Hojo-san. Ooh, we've heard Satoshi before. Huh? Satoshi? I remembered that name. Didn't they tell me Satoshi transferred out last year? He was at your school up until last year. Didn't they tell you anything about him? Come to think of it, when I transferred in, I believe they said my seat belonged to a recent transfer student? Then, where I sat, once belonged to the same one, to the one who was deemed away? It was his seat? I recalled the cold sensation that came from that desk. It made my hair stand up on ends. The string of mysterious deaths. No, Oyashiro-sama's curse. I now knew how it connected to me. That chilling sensation. It was a feeling of Oyashiro-sama caressing the back of my neck. Oyashiro-sama's curse, huh? Could Oyashiro-sama's curse really exist? In all honesty, I was beginning to believe it. And I was scared. That's why I wanted to say it was a plot, crafted by man and not the work of a curse. But the more I dug into it, the less likely that seemed. No. The more I dug, the more mysterious it became. If I kept digging, eventually, I'd reached a point where I'd learned something I really shouldn't know. To either be none the wiser or to seek an answer I may regret. Which one would I be happier with? Maybe it'll be me next time. My execution could only be delayed for 1 year. That was when I remembered. Rena. Rena said she may be the next victim of the curse. You mean Rena Dugu-san? She transferred in last year, and she's your classmate, isn't she? These incidents really may be a bit too disturbing for a girl. She's not just scared, is she? It wasn't that. She said it might be her next. She said it in a way that made me think she had a concrete reason behind it. It felt like she was convinced. Almost as if, you could say, she was frightened. Her sudden change in demeanor. That someone who looked like Rena, but wasn't Rena. That might be unrelated. All these strange things that I felt from Rena today came back to me. I see. Then I'll be doing a bit of investigation on this end. Please continue your observations of Ryugu-san and... Please continue your observations of Ryugu-san, Mayabara-san. Are you asking me to keep Rena under surveillance? That's not what I mean, Mayabara-san. I just want you to watch out for your friend so she doesn't end up the next victim. At that moment, just as my mouth was agape because I was so impressed with his mature, clever way with words. Knock, knock, knock. A sudden knock at the door sent my heart racing. In an instant, I had pointlessly covered up the end of the receiver. Keiichi, get the door, please. On the other side of the door, I heard my father's oddly upbeat voice. What could it be? It's so late. Sorry, my dad just came in. Can we leave it at this for tonight? Yeah. My apologies again for calling so late. If you find out anything else, please let me know. I'll tell you if I make any progress on this end. Well. Well then. Have a pleasant evening. Keiichi, hurry up and open. Daddy's got his hands full. What is Dad doing? I had stayed in the same position while on the phone the whole time, so my joints were aching. When I opened the door, I saw my father was standing there with a tray. On that tray, cookies and 2 cups of black tea, a fairly fancy spread for our household. There was even sugar and lemon slices on the side, everything you could ask for. This was quite the show of hospitality. Whoa, what's going on, Dad? What's with all this for? Come now, don't play around, Keiichi. I'm coming in. Dad was in high spirits and had a smirk on his face, but for my entire life I've never seen him act this hospitable. What's gotten into him? So, what were you talking about? I jumped. It's not something I had to keep from my mom. It's not something I had to keep from my father, but how could I explain to him I was talking to a detective? I'm assuming he was, this late at night. Nothing much. Just a friend. I don't mean the phone. She was here, wasn't she? Ooh, Rena-chan? Oh, that music change! Okay. What? She wasn't here. Come now, don't try to keep it from me. She just came over to play. You two were chatting away, so I thought I'd bring some tea, but looks like I just missed her. I had no idea what Dad was talking about, but a cold sweat dripped down my neck. Or back. How long were we talking? Rena-chan went upstairs about half after, so it was close to an hour, I guess. You saw her? Come up to the 2nd floor? Yeah, I did. I also told her that your room was on the door down the hall up the stairs. Then they came to my house about an hour ago. Dad met her at the door and called out to me on the 2nd floor. I probably didn't hear him because I was so focused on my conversation with the Oishi-san. I didn't reply, but he knew I was in my room, so he had her come inside. I told her my room was on the 2nd floor, and then told her my room was on the 2nd floor. She thanked my dad and went upstairs. Then about an hour passed. She passed by my dad just as he was bringing up tea and left. She came upstairs about an hour passed. Then passed by my dad and returned home. Th- Then, after she came upstairs and until she left, where was Elena? There's only a short hallway between my room and the stairs, meaning Elena had, for about an hour, in the hall. No, she couldn't have been standing in front of my door all that time. The door to my room wasn't particularly thick. You could easily hear everything being said inside. Of all the ominous things that could, and all the nonsense I spoke to Oishi-san about began rushing through my head. Honey, don't tease him. More importantly, you need to clean up your studio. It's a mess again. Mom yelled at Dad from downstairs. Dad left a tray with me and went downstairs with a disappointed chortle. I followed my dad out of the room with my eyes. I looked down at the floor around the doorway where Rodena might have stood all that time. Just now, as I was talking to Oishi-san, with my back turned, Rodena was standing a mere 6 feet away the whole time. All that time, in this dimly lit doorway? What did she see? What did she hear? For what reason? That's just freaky. Like, just somebody watching you. It's like, oh yeah, I see you on the phone, man. Just peer inside your room and just watch you on the phone and listen in on your conversation for, what, about an hour? As the steam from the 2 teacups ominously wafted and twisted, the aroma of black tea filled my room. Ooh. I like it, I like it. I see what you're putting down. New tips. Notice from the police chief. What's up, Friedel? You just, missed, I guess, a interesting little, developments, I guess you could say. What up? Is shit going down? Yeah, so, what had happened is, we were on our way home from school and we were like with Rodena, right? She kind of flips out on us in a little bit of a way after we ask her, or like, and she changes, right? Like her facial expression changes. She gets all up in our face, and then she just goes back to normal, like nothing happened. And then we get home, we get a call from Oishi-san, and we talk to him for a little bit. We talk about how we heard that Onekashikushu getting demoned away and the Oyashiro-sama's curse happened together. And they were talking and theorizing about how that could work. And it appears that for the past 5 years, on the night of the Wata Nagashi, one person dies and one person gets spirited away. And that's Oyashiro-sama's curse mixed with the Onikakushi. And yeah, and we're talking about that, and then as the phone call ends, we find out that Rina had made a visit and had stood outside our door for about an hour listening in on the entire conversation about all of it. And yeah, so we just finished a chapter, and we're about to view some tips, see what we get. It's a notice from the police chief. July 1st, 1982. The Department of 1 through 12. Blank Prefectural Police Headquarters. Director General Blank. To the Chief Constable and all facility managers. Regarding cases situated in the Hinamizawa village, notice. As cases in Shisabona City, Hinamizawa village has been reported by certain sections of mass media. It has drawn global attention, which is causing serious repercussions for local residents. This has become a very serious situation. Ah, I missed that. Designate the following criminal investigations as classified. Okinomiya Station, 1982, case number X. Hinamizawa Village, housewife murder, dated June blank. Okinomiya Station, 1982, case number X. Hinamizawa Village student disappearance, dated X. June blank. Number 2, non-disclosure of information. Okinomiya Station, 1979, case number X. Hinamizawa Village site, foreman murder, dated June blank. Shida Station, 1980, case number X. Shida Natural Park falling incident, dated June blank. Okinomiya Station, 1981, case number blank. Hinamizawa Village Shinto priest's wife disappearance, dated June blank. Number 3, requesting self-restraint from each organization concerning the release of sensitive information. Please see attached reference materials 1, 2, and 3. Management blank Prefectural Police Headquarters. Internal line blank. Police Affairs Department blank blank. Think we're about to die? I wasn't able to click through that to read it separately. I had to like try to speed read that as it was coming out. Oh, that was stressful. Glad.